Hey everybody, it's good to be here. Okay, so as explained, this talk, fairly informal, fairly anecdotal. We're essentially just going to go over what it looks like to try to become a technical fellow, some of the pitfalls, and maybe some concrete tips that will help you on this journey, right? So Tech Fellow Quest, a blueprint to crushing it. An anecdotal review of the journey and its pitfalls. So let's get into it. So I'm Dom, aka Polkadot Dom, on all socials and whatnot. I'm rank 1. My work includes RFC 150, which is voting while delegating. That's currently going under review. And then the new hard pressure issuance schedule, these halvings that we're doing. This is my work as well. So it's probably worth noting, like, why me? Why a rank 1 giving a talk on how to join the technical fellowship, right? Wouldn't you want Basti doing this or someone like that? And I think it's because essentially I was unaffiliated with any organization. I had no Rust experience. I had no blockchain experience. I basically set a good upper bound for how long it might take you to achieve this. So if you're doing any better than that, than how I started, then it'll go faster for you, basically. And essentially the goal is just to make this, give you the best shot possible of joining the fellowship. There's a lot of arduousness in joining the fellowship, but not all of that is good. And hopefully here we can sort of strip out the parts that are difficult unnecessarily and keep the parts that are difficult in that they're valuable and that they retain good developers. You can do it. Okay, so what is the fellowship for those who don't know? Basically, we're the technical stewards of the Polkadot ecosystem. We handle protocol upgrades, all things Polkadot, asset hub migration, anything that is happening essentially at the federal level of Polkadot, anything that's like above parachains. We are a salaried on-chain DAO. We have a salary. We, at the core, are a social meritocracy. Essentially, once you are in the technical fellowship, you then gain voting rights to induct other members, hence the social meritocracy. The reason I say meritocracy is because currently it's very much based on merit. So like there's no very minimal politicking. You could be completely unknown. As long as you're producing good code, they're going to let you in. Or at least I would be very surprised if they did not. More on that in the manifesto. So, and why might you want to join? Salary, flexibility, no boss. These are all nice. Like I can come down here, I can still work, it's fine. These are things computer scientists mostly look for. But I'm assuming most likely it would be for the legislative power that you then gain within the ecosystem. To speak to it bluntly, currently the technical fellows are the ultimate arbiters of what ends up on chain, right? And this is not baked into OpenGov. Anybody can submit something, submit a runtime, but currently there's no authority structure that is challenging the fellowship, so it kind of all passes through the fellowship. I would expect at some point that this will change and that there will be some sort of like party system and you choose which one you align with, but for right now, just the fellowship. And just the chance to work with very skilled Web3 developers who have the same ethos as you, who believe that Polkadot is really the only good shot we have at an actual Web3 future, right? Okay, so how do you join? Pretty simple. This is empirically how you join, not as laid out in the manifesto, just what I think you have to do. Open a few reasonable PRs in the SDK or runtimes repos, Polkadot SDK. You then create your candidacy argument and have to ask somebody for induction. That's critical. You can't induct yourself. You have to find someone to induct you. You then find a bigger project that is sort of going to wow everybody. You know, it doesn't have to be huge, but just something that says, I actually know what I'm doing in this code base. Open up a PR for that. And critically, I'm saying open PR because you don't necessarily have to get it merged into the code base. You just essentially need evidence that you know what you're talking about. And then from there, you will create your argument for promotion. Again, convince somebody to put up a referenda for you. And then if that gets voted on positively, you will be in the fellowship, right? And congrats on that. Okay, so a sense of time frame. Empirically, this takes about a year of development effort at maybe medium effort or so. So you're going to be looking at like, you could think of it as like probably your favorite hobby. You know, you're going to be doing like 15 hours a week, 20 hours a week, probably for a year or so. At least that's what it took me. But again, that's an upper bound. You could probably do it faster if you know Rust, if you're familiar with all these things, blockchain and whatnot. I could see somebody doing it in 6 months easily. Okay, moving on to the anecdotal, the informal. Such a simple process, only a few steps, right? So why do so many people fail halfway? Why is this like, why is this in practice a difficult thing to do? Don't be this blue line, be the green line. Okay, and what qualities do you need to succeed? Okay, so first of all, I'll say this. The fellowship and trying to enter it essentially is just a proxy for being good. Like, your end goal should not be to be in the fellowship. It should be to be a useful agent within the Polkadot ecosystem. If you're focused on just like, oh, I just need to get these PRs in, just get these PRs in, you're not going to become good enough to, or at least not quick enough, it'll just take you a very long time to reach the skill level necessary for people to see you as a contributor worth inducting, right? You should always take on tasks that feel scary. This is going to be the fastest way to do it. You don't want to be in this area where you do something that was hard, realize now it's easy for you, and then continuously take on that same type of task. That's going to be A, boring for you, and B, not good for your growth. Autonomy. If I could imbue any quality in a prospective fellow, it would be autonomy. Basically, do not be the person who, this is just my take, and maybe it's a little hardcore, but do not be the person who comes around and asks for help about things. We are a permissionless system, which means basically everything is in the open. It is very rare that I come across a question and think, they definitely couldn't have figured that out on their own. So nothing will like out you faster in my mind that you perhaps are not capable of the rigor of joining the fellowship. So yeah, you're always going to need this skill. It's something you want to foster now. I think anybody who's an active agent in the ecosystem probably agrees with this. There's not a lot of hand-holding, and that's good. Okay, this is actually kind of interesting because I've seen a lot of people fall to this, like a surprising amount of people. If you are pursuing the fellowship, realistically, you are a very talented engineer. You don't just like happen to find yourself into the depths of Web3 and then trying to get into the federal DAO on Polkadot without like, you're probably pretty good. I think for engineers that good, it's hard to work in a system this long without people respecting you and like being like, oh, so awesome, yeah, keep working, this is so cool. You don't really get a lot of that in your first like year or so. Difficult mental strain. Your work is going to sit unreviewed for months. That's totally okay. The first time it happens to you, it tends to be pretty jarring. But basically, nobody is going to care at all about the thing that you worked on for months, if ever. Especially in the beginning, because you are working on something that is not important, realistically. It's not important. It's for you. Again, it's for you to get good, but nobody's actually going to care about it. So don't get tiffed by this. You know, like, it's fine. Don't be the person who falls off right there before people start respecting you. Again, kind of hardcore, but I think there's a lot of truth to this. I see a lot of people crash out right before they start getting respect. And they'll basically get on the forums and be like, nobody respects me. I'm not working anymore. And, you know, don't do that, basically. Okay, enough thought to be confident. I was very bad about, if I'm being honest. So if your comment includes something like, hey, I think, then you're essentially just giving cognitive time to somebody else for them to think about it and then actually determine a solution. So here's an example of me totally embarrassing myself early on in my Polkadot career. Let's inflation rate too high. That's good. I made a statement. Okay, first sentence. Is there any sentiment among the community that our inflation rate is too high? Or said another way, hey guys, is there any sentiment in the community that our inflation rate is too high? Like, what is that? I had no idea what I was talking about. I immediately was just asking everybody else to do the cognitive work for me. It should be inflation rate too high, here's my reasoning, here's what I think we can do, and here's how we're gonna do it. And I'm already doing it, sort of thing. You don't want to be doing this. In short, the most challenging aspect of joining the technical fellowship is just managing yourself. And I'm very serious about that. I know that's a bit amorphous, but the actual process is easy. The thing that takes people out is the emotion of it, is the arduousness of controlling yourself and managing oneself, so be prepared for it. It feigns simplicity, but it is arduous because of the skill and the work that is required of you. May seem amorphous, but people drop out for it. Okay, enough amorphous. Let's look at some concrete tips and tricks. So finding starter issues. This was hard. I'm not going to lie. This was difficult while I was doing it. Took a while, so maybe I can help you guys out. And I had never worked on a big code base, so. These tags, good first issue, C1, mentor, D0, easy tags. Just search for those. That should find you something. You're definitely going to want to weekly read through the SDK and runtimes repos. So go in, go to the analysis tab, read through whatever like PRs have come up or whatever is being integrated, and most likely from there, you will gain a sense of what's being worked on and what you could help out on. Watch the fellowship calls. And take a look at the umbrella issues. If you're like a first-time contributor, umbrella issues are great. And honestly, we make them, I think, mostly because they're great for beginners. But that's just going to be like very simple one-liners. Hey, do this thing. Now submit the code. And it'll just get you used to this process. Your PR graveyard is totally okay. As I was saying earlier, your code is not going to be reviewed. Nobody's going to care about it until the code starts becoming extremely critical because time is very scant in Polkadot. So just start where you can. That's totally okay. This is my PR graveyard from a couple days ago. Literally, what is this? This is a month of work. This is 3 months of work, a month of work. And just nothing. And that's totally okay. That's totally okay. That was for my learning purposes, so I could work on something that was valuable. And CI is your friend. Basically, when you submit a pull request, go ahead and check CI. It's going to tell you everything. That's a pretty easy one. And then Codex is your best friend. In a code base this big, I assume everybody by this point is probably using something like this. Don't use it to write code because you're not going to learn anything from that and it's not going to be good enough for now. But use it to navigate code. So basically just, this code's too confusing. Could you explain it to me? Daily I use that and it saves me hours. So I would definitely recommend that. Okay, and then I know I said no questions, but I will give you guys the leeway of asking me non-code questions. Again, if it's code, definitely figure it out yourself. But if it's about the fellowship or anything like that, I'm definitely available to you guys. And then some alternative ideas that I did not explore personally. Find a sponsor company. This could be a good place to do it. I actually think this is a pretty good idea. Basically, because the fellowship has legislative power and because we either block things or put things through, if I'm like Moonbeam and I know this, it would behoove me to see if I could get one of my employees into the fellowship or maybe pay somebody a small salary to work towards the fellowship exclusively or they're on your team and you let them spend half their time on the fellowship. I would think this would be a good pitch to your company or even just to a company that you find. Also, the Jam Prize, if you, maybe little known fact, but if you complete one of the milestones for Jam, you immediately become a rank 3, which saves you like 3 years of work. So I would recommend, if you guys are good enough to write a Jam node, I don't think I quite was, but I would maybe recommend that. And you get like 100,000 DOT, so that would be cool as well. Okay, let's see. And then if you got nothing else from this, here is a links package, which I will post the link on the YouTube video or whatnot, or you can just, like a madman, type it in here. And this should be everything you need to get going. It basically has all the repos, it has the manifesto, it has the sub-square where you can see the fellows voting, and you can ask for your induction or candidacy. Basically all the things that I eventually found, but nobody told me where they were or that I needed them initially. So hopefully it's useful to you. Okay, and that's it. Pretty simple, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Dom. Are there any questions non-code related?
Yes, non-code related, please. Yes.
You do? Okay, cool.
Yeah, hit me.
We're going to run over for you. Hold on. We are live streaming.
I have watched the fellowship calls quite a lot over the last few years.
Yes.
And I understand that from what I just gathered from what you presented, sometimes, a majority of the time, you're standing up your own ideas. Am I correct in that?
You're going to have to defend your own ideas. So I would say when you're starting out, basically, you're just doing other people's ideas. Like Hard Pressure was Jay and the community's idea. The RFC 150, I think, was Limo's idea at one point. Like, I'm just doing things that other people have already vetted as needed. Later, when you're making your own ideas, you're going to have to defend them, yeah. Nothing just like slides through, if that's what you were asking.
Yes. And then from there, after you've created what you're creating, right?
Yes.
Is there any go-to-market products that have come, or is that still in the pipeline?
Go-to-market products.
Go-to-market mean like B2B, P2P, person-to-person, business-to-business, business-to-person.
Are you asking me specifically, or just the fellowship in general?
I'm just asking in general about the fellowship.
No, the fellowship's really a majority infrastructure. Like, it's going to be the infrastructure that other people build on top of. This like relay chain and asset hub. Probably the closest we get is asset hub, but I don't think anyone in the fellowship includes in their work products or anything that would be consumer facing.
So right now it's infrastructure.
Yes,
100%.
I think in the manifesto it delineates all the things you can work on, and I do not believe products is in there. But you can take a look. Yes.
Thank you.
Sure.
I saw someone else raising hands here. Give me a second. I'm a flash. There you go.
All right. This is really insightful in terms that, you can understand as a non-member of the fellowship how to get into. But I was wondering, once you are a member of the fellowship, in your experience, what have you seen that it can help you stay as a member of the fellowship? Because it's not just getting in, but it's also the part of staying and growing over time in the fellowship.
Yes. So how do you stay in the fellowship once you're in it? I think this probably changes by rank, but let's look at like the first 3 ranks or so when you're starting out, and the only rank I know is rank 1 anyway. But basically, you're going to have to continuously do projects and continuously show that you're improving. Now, how do you keep finding projects? I think the dynamic changes a bit, where now that you're in, you'll inevitably start to make friends with some of the other fellows, and they'll start passing you work, or I think just a lot of community agents are watching the calls. They know when there's a new fellow, and they know that they can then ask them to do work. Like that's how hard pressure happened for me. Basically, Jay just asked if I could do it because, I'm new. What else am I doing? Basically, so I think probably something like that. Sound good? Yes.
Good.
Yeah.
All right, you guys. Thank you so, so much. Dom, we appreciate you. Everyone give him a round of applause. And that is our day. That is our day.
Thank you, everyone.
Give me 5. Thank you.